Hey there, welcome back everyone. I wanted to take you through my top 15 home preventative maintenance tips. And as I record this, it's spring of 2000, and a lot of these things you should do in the spring. But right now, if you're watching this video, during the spring of 2000 or years later, you'll remember that there was a lot happening during the spring, and a lot of people were stuck in their homes, you know, going stir crazy with not much to do. So this is a really good time to take care of a lot of the things on this list that you should be doing anyway, regardless as to what's happening around you. So I'm going to take you through my list of top 15 preventative maintenance tips, and then also I'll probably have a couple of follow-up videos that will go into depth in each one of them, or in some of them, and in some instances showing you how to repair various things that are related to that, etc. So the first thing on the list is clean out your sink traps and shower drains. It's something that you should do at least once per year. So your sink traps down below the sink in your kitchen, your bathrooms, wherever it is, your laundry room, they'll over time accumulate some debris and gunk in there, and then eventually that opening in the pipe will narrow, and you'll notice that the water isn't draining properly. So you can unscrew the traps at the bottom, get a little wash tub or bucket below, dump it out, and then clean it out if you need to, and then replace. It should take you no longer than about 5 or 10 minutes each. I do have a video that talks about how to replace that sink trap. You can go back in history of my videos and see that, to a beefier type of PVC, and also much easier to open up the trap and wash out. So you can look for that, but that's something that you should do at least once per year. Next on my list is the dryer, lint, filter, and exhaust. You need to definitely clean those out, probably more than once per year, but now that you're hearing this, it's something you can do today. Your dryer likely has a lint trap someplace after you open the door, right in there. And then also the exhaust, people often don't go through that and clean that out. That could back up, that could cause a fire. Even if you have a more modern dryer, that might have a sensor on there that senses that the exhaust is not flowing properly, and your dryer will shut off, and you'll think your dryer's broken, but all it is the exhaust pipe has got too much lint in it. It's pretty dangerous, can cause a fire. So take that apart, clean it out, and put it back. The other thing you need to do is clean out your gutters. This isn't just once per year, multiple times per year. If you're sitting here in the spring, you'll say to yourself, well, I already did it in the fall because all the leaves came down, but more debris comes during the winter. We're probably going to have a lot of rain in the spring, so get up there and clean out your gutters. And then while you're up there also, if you have the type of gutters that have the long nails that hold the gutter to the side of the house, get yourself a hammer and just tap them slightly, make sure they're all in and the gutter's not drooping. So while we're talking about gutters, then you want to go down and look at the downspouts. Okay, a lot of people just have downspouts just stopping right there at the base or the foundation of their homes. You want to make sure you've got some kind of piping or a way to get that water away from your house so it doesn't accumulate in your foundation and cause moisture problems in your basement. If you already do have some type of piping that takes it away, you want to make sure the connections are all tight. So the number 5 on the list is you need to inspect your chimney at least once per year. Look for the brick and the mortar, make sure that it's not crumbling and falling apart. You could create a big problem if you don't stay on top of that. There are a lot of different DIY caulking or mortar substances that you can get in a caulking tube, that you can just do it by yourself, but you want to catch it early before the thing is so damaged that all these bricks are falling out. So you want to check for that. You want to make sure the flashing that's on the side of your chimney, right above your roof line, is in good working order, and that any caulking around the flashing is not cracking and coming apart. And if so, you want to go back over that and replace that. And then cap. Make sure that your cap, if you have one on top of your chimney, is fastened properly, not coming off. If you don't have a cap, you probably want to install one. Otherwise, you're going to get squirrels in the house. Next thing is your furnace or air conditioner blower. So some of you might not have a furnace that's got forced air heat, but if you have air conditioning, you've got a blower. You want to make sure that you're changing that filter. A lot of people say every month. That's probably a bit aggressive. Once a quarter would be great. So this is a great time to change that filter. Winter's basically over. You're going to be flipping over to AC. So go ahead and change out that filter. Wash your window screens. How many times do we forget to do that? The spring's here. Once per year, take the screens off, get a scrub brush and a bucket of soapy water like you're washing the car, scrub it down, hose it, lean it up against the side of the house, and then put them back. Pretty simple. So inspect and replace the caulking and grout in your bathrooms. That's something that a lot of people don't do until it's kind of too late. So you'll quite often, if you have grout around your shower floor, where the tile meets the shower and some other spots, little pieces of grout will come out. Sometimes you don't even notice it, but when the shower's dry, go and inspect it and make sure that you've got good grout lines all the way around and none of it's missing. And if it is, you can get a small little container at your local home improvement store where you can just with your finger just put it back in there and read the instructions. You probably have to wait about 24 hours and you can shower again in there. And any caulking that you might have, inspect the caulking. If it's starting to peel, just go rip it all out and just put all new caulking in. Testing your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. I'd say at this point, don't even test them by pressing the button and listening for a beep. Just change your batteries once per year. So just say in the spring, right now you're going to change your batteries once per year. Just go invest in the 9 volts if they are battery operated. If they're hardwired, then if you have a test button on it, then just do that and make sure it's working. Your sump pump, you need to test your sump pump multiple times per year, not just once. All you really need to do is go over to it. There's probably a float. Just lift the float up, make sure you hear the sump pump come on, and drop it. If you'd really like to, take a big 5-gallon bucket of water and dump it in there. And you do it twice if you need to until you get it to engage and make sure all that water pumps out. That's probably the best way to test it. Test your air conditioning unit, and you want to do that in the spring or late winter. Make sure it's working. You don't want to be doing it when it gets hot, because if you do have a problem, it's easier to get someone, and likely cheaper, to come in and fix it before everyone else needs their air conditioning fixed, right? So February, March, even April, if you recognize a problem, get an HVAC person in so they can fix whatever your issue is. If it's July and you're calling just like everybody else, you're going to have a tough time getting someone over, and then the price will likely go up. Check for termites. This one I'm definitely spending another video on, but looking for the mud tunnels, but more importantly, making sure that you have any clutter and debris away from your home, no wood substances next to your foundation or even within 10 feet of your foundation. Old railroad ties that are rotting, get rid of them. Don't have things that are collecting water. Don't put plastic sheeting down in your beds because you want to stop weeds, but what's going to do is create an area down below where it's just too moist. These are things that I had to learn the hard way because I ended up with termites and didn't realize what was contributing to it. So I'm gonna create another full video on termites, but you want to go around and again look for mud tunnels, look for evidence of termites. I haven't put that video together yet, so you can just go and search YouTube for someone else's for now. But that's something you should definitely do at least once per year. Your garage door. So this is number 13. Your garage door, make sure that you lube the track. You can buy garage door track lube at your local home improvement store. Just spray it on just like you would WD-40. Do not want WD-40 because that actually removes grease and lube and then will dry out and it makes it worse. There's special garage door loop track spray. Just get that, hit that a couple times per year, and check your springs. So your springs want to look all even, you know, in a nice row. If you see it where it looks like they're starting to separate slightly or bend, you're getting a weak point there, and then it becomes dangerous, because then at one point that spring will break, could shoot across your garage. I've seen where it created holes in the wall of the garage. I was sitting in my family room one time right next to the garage. This gigantic bang. I'm like, what the heck was that? I come out and the spring's hanging, you know, broke. So that's something you want to check at least once per year. Your septic tank. If you have a septic tank, and it's a good portion of the United States, the homes do have septic systems, you just want to have that pumped at least once per year. I know you look at it and say, well, it's going to cost me a few $100s to have someone come pump it out, but it's great preventative maintenance. It gives it time for your leach field to dry out if you have a leach field. It gets all the debris and gunk out, and anything that's not decomposing in there, it gets that pumped out. That's a great preventative maintenance measure you should take at least once per year, and now's a good time to do it. You know what? It's going to save you tens of thousands of dollars in replacement, so definitely do that. And the last thing, number 15 here, is check for mold in your basement, in your attic. You know, mold can be, you know, a health risk, but not just that. Usually what happens is homeowners realize it when it's too late, and it's too much of a problem, it's too big, and then it becomes very costly to take care of. So if you inspect your basement along the foundation walls often, and then in the attic, especially now in the spring, you might notice some mold in the rafters or mildew. It's hard to sometimes determine between the two, and that could happen actually in the winter when you have humid air coming up from your house, hitting that cold roof line, and it creates that environment where that mold can grow. So you want to, you know, catch it early. You might be able to do a couple of DIY mold remediation tips or projects that you could work on before it gets out of hand and becomes very costly. So those are my top 15. I hope that this helps you. I hope you appreciate some of these tips. Please hit that subscribe and bell notification icon down below, and look for some of the follow-up videos to go into greater detail on some of the items on this list.